Welcome to Open for Small Business. Today I am delighted to have Rosa and Margo with me, the powerhouse founders of Two Raw Sisters. They have transformed home cooking through simple, time-saving, confidence-boosting recipes. I'm sure many of our listeners are familiar with both of you. I know I certainly have a couple of your cookbooks in my cupboard already completely covered in mess from having been used so much. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for being on our podcast today.
Thanks for having us. It's good to be on.
So Margo and Rosa are joining us from Christchurch today, which is why we are doing this online, which is a first for Open for Small Business. So listen, we're going to get straight into it. You two are well-known, iconic cooks and the authors of 5 award-winning recipe books. You have workshops, you have a digital platform, you have an app, you have your own podcast. So you really are incredible businesswoman as well. It must be a lot to juggle, so I can't wait to hear all about it. And for those of you who can't see the screen but are listening, there is a beautiful baby also in the background. Rosa's daughter is joining us on the podcast as well, which just also demonstrates the juggle of being a full-time working parent and having your own business. So let's go back to the beginning. Where did the idea for Two Raw Sisters come from? How did you come up with it?
We'll keep it short and sweet because it can be quite a long story. In a nutshell, Rosa and I, we both went through our own health issues. So I have chronic fatigue and endometriosis, and Rosa was an elite athlete for New Zealand, and she had an eating disorder and a training obsession. And we both hit rock bottom at the same time and realised what we were actually doing to our bodies. And as we were going through our recovery journeys, we realized that it wasn't necessarily the expensive specialists and supplements that led to long-term health and well-being. It was actually just going back to basics and eating good food and looking at lifestyle as a whole. So that was when we came up with the idea of starting Two Raw Sisters, because so many people started their meals with their meat and put veggies on the back burner, or processed food was becoming a lot more convenient. So it used to be a very niche mindset, but now it's definitely become more mainstream, where people are putting plants first, looking at what they're putting into their bodies. So essentially that is what Two Raw Sisters is all about, is encouraging people to put plants first and eat a whole, all-rounded diet and not get stuck into those wellness trends and diets and things that can be so consuming and ultimately also affect our mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much there. You've given it obviously such a quick overview, but really, incredible that you both went through journeys at the same time that affected your physical and mental well-being, and discovered, the idea of focusing on whole foods essentially. Did you love cooking growing up? Like, was this a part of your lifestyle? Did you know about nutrition prior to starting this journey, or was it something that you discovered together and started learning about that led you to setting up the business?
I think we've never been had a huge passion for cooking. If there was either one of us, it would have been me that had more of the passion.
Not me.
I always do remember enjoying baking with mum on a weekend. But in terms of the food nutrition, so I went on and did a degree in human nutrition. So I was really interested on how the body works, and that was a big part of my recovery from an eating disorder, was actually learning about the body, because I found when I understood what was happening, I was more likely to look after it and give my body the care and the fuel that it needed. So I did that, which was a 3-year degree. And so my role was a majority the food, the recipes within the business, whereas Margo's not really involved with that as much. She's more the design, photography, all of the back end app, product development. But we do always come together and make some recipe decisions for the app and for our cookbooks too. So it's always nice getting her feedback and advice.
Yeah, I think it's more for us the education part that we have discovered from our
experiences.
from our well-being journey. You know, we feel like Two Raw Sisters exists to make eating well feel easy, flexible, and like genuinely achievable through our Be Intelligently Lazy philosophy. So I feel like for us, that's kind of where Two Raw Sisters really puts its mark in the ground, is that different thought process around how we are cooking.
And so how did it, I mean, you know, today you're a big business, right, across New Zealand and Australia, and no doubt we'll talk more about that, probably forging your way in other parts of the world as well. But how did you go from the idea to actually forming a business? Because that's often the hardest part. You can have a great idea, but actually turning into something that's commercially successful can be really challenging. So, I mean, it's been a number of years now, but how did you kind of get traction on your journey?
It's a really good question.
You kind of look back and you're like, how did we actually go from just doing it for a hobby and a passion into a business? And I feel like a lot of the time it just happens.
A whole lot of failure, I would say, like, because we started the business so young. I was 20, you were 22. And
18. You were 18.
Was I 18?
Yeah,
Oh,
you were 18.
goodness me.
I was 20.
Even longer than you thought.
Time flies.
Even longer than you think. Exactly.
And I think we were just in that, like, really, we were super intrigued on, like, what paths we could try, and we were kind of in a very lucky position where we could just like try things and see what happened. And I think, like, we both were talking about this the other day, I feel like it wasn't until 3 years ago where we really started the business, where we got into like knowing our numbers and understanding how a business actually functions, how it works, what does the growth strategy look like, what does the international growth strategy look like. So for us, I feel like we were always very just New Zealand based. Let's see what we can do. Let's have a bit of fun. And then we were like, right, okay, how do we create a brand that is sustainable for us and also a scalable brand that puts across our education and our personalities, but on a global level?
I feel like as well, it's not a bad thing being oblivious to, which we definitely were, to what starting a business involves, because I feel like sometimes that can put people off doing it and think, oh no, it's too hard, oh no, that's not achievable. Whereas for us, we definitely did not know what we were heading towards. And I feel like from talking to people, the business and the brand evolving through our cookbooks and being approached for those, doing our workshops, we started those in our parents' kitchen. We kicked them out every couple of weeks for a night and brought complete randoms into our parents' home and just started educating people and talking to people. And word of mouth was a huge thing for us at the start. Someone would come along to our workshops and then go away and say, hey, the Two Raw Sisters went to one of their workshops, it was great, learnt lots, and then that person comes along to the next. So yeah, it's definitely been a big learning curve along the way. But then I always say Margo and I allowed ourselves to create that brand that people started talking about through putting ourselves out there, because it doesn't just happen. As a lot of business owners know, we went to a lot of businesses around Christchurch and just did free workshops as well at the start, just trying to get in front of people, trying to spread our brand out there, and it's definitely paid off.
And what's it like working together as sisters? Because, you know, I know I've got a lovely sister. I love her dearly, but I'm not sure I could work with her. We might kill each other. So how do you marry sisterhood and business together in a successful way?
We get this question a lot. I feel, we're very, very lucky to have the relationship that we do have. I feel like our strengths and weaknesses are the complete opposite. So that is, I feel like, only how we can work together. Otherwise we definitely would clash. And even since Rosa's had a baby, I feel like we've become closer in a business sense, but also a sister sense, because you've just got that deep connection where you actually genuinely emotionally care for this person and understand what they're going through. So so far so good, right?
I think we've almost grown closer as the years have gone on. And a big thing for us is communication, which I think is so key, especially being sisters. And it's also defining that the sister relationship versus the business relationship. And yeah, it's been it definitely has its challenges, but then we always say, gosh, we're so lucky to work with each other. We travel with each other. We get to be on a stage and talk with each other, and having that, the feedback from one another is so great, I feel. We've had a couple of talks where we've done on our own, and we're like, oh my gosh, it didn't feel the same not having you up there with me.
It's incredible, really, very special. So, running your own business, you're everything, aren't you? Especially in the early days, you're creating the recipes, you're doing the marketing, the branding, the customer engagement, the giving the workshops, the training, being the accountant. So obviously, running a business, there's a lot to learn, particularly if it comes from a passion that you then turn into a business. What do you think has been the steepest learning curve for you?
Just understanding how a business works. Again, as I said at the start, we were so oblivious to what was involved, and being around everything in terms of, especially in particular, the numbers. That's when doing the Knowing Your Numbers campaign was really beneficial for us, not only being involved but also learning more about it and understanding how you can look at your business, and from there how you can grow and how you can strategize, because we were just literally doing it, like taking it day by day.
We were
and
winging it.
We had no idea.
Of course you were. I love that.
Yeah. And literally people would say like, so tell us about your business. We're like, we just wing it. And that was true. We just did. And we kind of got to a point in the business where we were committed to, continuing the Two Raw Sisters brand, and we were wanting to go global. And it was like, well, actually, how can we do that? And it was kind of a big transformation in terms of Margo and I as business owners and where we wanted to head and what we wanted to learn. And I feel like that was the biggest challenge, and for me personally, and I'm sure for you too.
Yeah, I think for me, when you look at your growth goals and strategy, but then you look at, okay, I do all these things, how am I going to fit this in? Let's hire someone. And then it's knowing when to hire someone and having that confidence to put that capital forward and hire that person and trust in your strategy that they're going to grow the business. Like, we're kind of going through that phase now again, where it's kind of going through a bit of a restructure, and we're like, okay, how can we take it to the next level? And that's, we're talking about emotional tax and all those things. Like, that's what keeps you up at night as a small business owner. You think, well, okay, I trust myself, but then you've got times where you're like, oh, am I making the right decision? Is this what we should be doing, or should we be doing this other thing?
This is going to be a whole nother expense to the business, and are we going to find the right person? And it's that whole learning to delegate and trust other people, because for so long we did everything, as you said, Bridget, ourselves, from marketing to all of the finances, and now we've had to learn to let go of that and to give it to someone else and trust them to do the job as we would do it. So yeah, hiring is definitely another one.
Oh, for sure. Bringing someone into what is, your baby, effectively, right? Like something that's really, really important to the two of you. It's a lovely segue actually into the fact that we are at Xero. We're launching a campaign about the emotional tax return. So we're coming up to end of financial year, and it's a time to stop and think about the toll that being a business owner can really take on you. It's the emotional tax of running a business. So let's talk for a little minute about that, because you have just referenced hiring someone can keep you up at night. You're thinking, oh, am I making the right decision? How do I trust myself? What are some of the other things that you have found, running a business has taken a toll on you for? So, missing moments that are important in a family context or with friends, or what are some, running a business obviously has a huge upside, but there are some challenges too. Let's talk about that for a minute, what you guys have experienced.
So funny when you just mentioned that, my whole body just like aches. As in when you stop and you feel just so exhausted, I'm like, oh God, I can't even think about this. I think you just so much emotional tax, like so much, but you don't actually let yourself think about it. Which is bad, isn't it? But
I think it's just that you're constantly thinking about it 24/7. And if something is stressful that's happening within the business, whether it's trying to find someone to hire or financial stress, whatever that stress looks like, it doesn't go away. It's there, and you can't just say see you later at 5 o'clock and go home and forget about it. You're thinking about it all night, and those stats around people around how much sleep they're losing a night, like that blew my mind, but also something I can relate to as well.
And I think you're just like going all out to try and grow your brand and business as much as you can, that you're taking every opportunity that you possibly can, which means you're up early, you're home late. You miss those. For me, like a big thing, I love having a coffee with my partner in the morning, and I miss out on that because I have meetings in the States at 7 a.m. in the morning and I've got to be at work. And then I've got meetings with our developers in Vietnam at 5:30, so I'm not home till 7. And like all those things that you've got your business, your best interest at heart for your business, but then also you forget about your personal life, which is difficult, but it does ebb and flow.
So you, Rosa, mentioned the stats. Let's just talk about those for a minute. So in the research that we've done, we know that 42% of small business owners find end of financial year the more stressful than the rest of the year. So obviously really stressful time. 60% have been caught off guard by tax outcome. And 47% of small businesses have considered giving up their business due to stress. Has there ever been a time the two of you have thought,
fair enough.
I can't do this
like,
anymore?
what are we doing? Yeah, 100%.
So what's kept you going?
But then you think like, well,
we've never worked for someone else before.
No.
And I feel like I really love there's flexibility, but there's not flexibility. But when you talk about being able to go away and work and not have to be at an office at a certain time and leave at a certain time, like now I've got a child, I've found that flexibility, as I said, it has its challenges, but then it also has its big wins as well. Like I can drop head off and work from home and be at home, but then I can pick her up halfway through the day and continue working later on at night. Or if I, as I said, want to go on holiday, I can. I don't have to tell my boss that I'm wanting to have 2 days leave off at the end of the week. And we're very independent people, I feel like we would find it hard for someone to be telling us what to do.
You'll never be able to work for people now that you've worked for yourself. That's it.
And I really like that every decision we make is for our brand and for our brand to grow and be better than what it is. And that's just really motivating for me on a day-to-day basis. Like whatever I'm working on is for us and our business.
Well, we get messages every day saying how we've just changed people's lives, and
that's amazing.
Passion for our purpose is so huge, which is why I think we feel like we've got the New Zealand market going really nicely, and that's why we're so determined to push it globally, because it can affect so many people in such a positive, life-changing way.
Oh, I mean, just a little anecdote. I discovered you myself when I was going through breast cancer treatment. And I think a friend gave me one of your recipe books, and I've made pretty much everything in it. But it was an education for me, and I think that's part of what you guys are trying to do, right, is educate people about how you can eat in a way that you're not eating processed foods, and you are putting plants kind of first. But doesn't mean that you're not vegan, you still incorporate meat protein into your recipes. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And that's exactly, what I love to hear. We love hearing stories like that. We have got people from all walks of life, and we really like to think that we meet people where they're at, whether they're so overwhelmed and stressed, they're busy, they're completely uninspired, they're sick. Whatever life stage or whatever stage you're at in your journey, we meet you where you're at, and our message never changes dependent on those markets or those people, which I really love, because it just shows that it is such a life-changing education. Well,
I've got an idea for you, because I just got a Thermomix. Could you please produce a Thermomix recipe book for me? Because
we get this question a lot as well.
We do.
Yeah, I know. I got bullied into getting one by friends over the summer, and I do love it.
Have you used it much?
Yeah. Do you know what? all the time. I decided because it's quite an investment, I would just throw myself into it. And the reason I got it was because I was feeling completely uninspired by, trying to think of what to make. And so it's definitely brought back my inspiration. I'm making my own pestos and mayonnaise and, making my own kind of staples, which I think is really, that's what you promote, right? And so I think it's been great from that point of view. But anyway, that's a total sidetrack. Let's talk about, other than the Thermomix recipe book you're now going to be producing, tell me about how the business is growing. So, you've referenced the US, you've referenced Australia. Where are you at?
Our main focus on the business at the moment is our Two Raw Sisters app. So that is a platform for us that is instantly global. It is the fastest way we can push out our education to everyone. So that is our huge focus at the moment. Compared to cookbooks, you've got to focus on distribution and who's going to distribute it, and it's just quite difficult. So we're just really going hard on the back-end data insights of what our users want, the biggest impact Two Raw Sisters has had on our users' lives, and then from there kind of really defining down our why and our purpose and making the app experience enhance that more, and then push out to more global audiences. So a big focus for us at the moment is the US and Australia.
Amazing.
Which has been interesting. It kind of really feels like we're starting from day one again. Yeah. Which can be really unmotivating at times.
And so what's in the plan? A kind of a tour around Australia or the US to promote your app and your philosophy?
Yeah, we are going. So we travel a week every month at the moment, which is quite a lot. But we feel that workshops for us are just so. My daughter's tugging on my dress.
Bring her up. She might have something to say.
Do you want to say? She doesn't like it when I go away. That's what she's wanting to say.
That's and that is hard.
But that's just an emotional tax.
That's an emotional tax, exactly.
It's the juggle, trying to keep the business growing, but be a really good mum. But we travel a week every month, which is a lot, but it's also just something we have to do, and it's a really great way for us to grow our brand. We can convert people onto the app a lot faster, and it's just nice just to be face to face with people and meet people and hear people's feedback personally, rather than via Facebook or Instagram or email. We really value that one-on-one with them. So we do a mix between North Island, South Island, and then we also do Australia, and then we haven't started workshops in the US or the UK yet, but it's definitely on the horizon.
We're kind of testing the strategy of not being on the ground and seeing how that goes.
The US is a huge market, and also will be an interesting market given kind of varying degrees of understanding of nutrition. In that market, it'll be amazing to see, and obviously hope that your app goes super well over there.
Thank you.
So we reference we referenced before the emotional tax, and we'll come back to that for a minute because we are coming up to end of financial year. Do you guys, is this a particularly stressful time for you, or do you work with a great accountant who kind of helps take care of a lot of your end of year tax returns?
For us, it's kind of like our bigger December, January, February are kind of our biggest income months. So for us, things are feeling quite good.
Things are feeling flush, which is quite nice. But
you did just put some money away for tax.
Yeah, my husband was like, just be aware you could get a really nice tax bill soon. But no, we work with some really good accountants, KPMG in Christchurch, and they help us a lot. But then I also like to have an understanding and control over it too, rather than someone just doing it for me. So I do all of our tax payments, and we just keep in comms around it. So
perfect.
I'm really big on making sure we hit those installment dates and get them paid early and keep on top of the tax bills. So that's where I feel like it helps coming into the end of the financial year. It's not as stressful because we have kept up with those installments throughout the year. So no,
Rosa is really good. Rosa does all that stuff, and she is really good at making sure we've always got sufficient funds in there so that it isn't stressful, because, you know, a few of my friends I talk to with small businesses, it is really stressful because they don't account for that.
Yeah. 100% makes all the difference, and it's such good practice to be really to know your numbers and to
know your numbers
and
exactly.
to understand, you know, what you've got to put away so you can foot your tax bill and not have a freak out as you're approaching the end of financial year. So what are some of the, you know, obviously super stressful, you know, Rosa, you're a mum, you're juggling that as well, but both of you, you know, you have full lives, partners, and a really big business that you are trying to grow. What are some of the hacks or, you know, things that you have picked up along the way to help you put in place boundaries or to manage that stress?
Since being a mum, I've been really big on setting my priorities for the day and doing what is needed to be done right now, not something that needs to be done in 2 weeks' time and stressing about it and having it in your mind brewing away. So I will, the night before, I plan out my week, because I know when Henrietta's at kindy, she's at kindy 3 full days a week, and then there are my days that I get to myself to get work done.
You get shit done.
I get shit done. I feel like I'm a lot more productive. I was productive prior to children, but now I just feel like I've got X amount of time to get the shit done, and it is getting done. But I find, just breaking it down, setting a high priority list, medium, low priority, and depending on how much I get through, as long as I get those high priority tasks ticked off, I find that's just great for me mentally.
Can I add something to this point?
Of course.
I do a lot on like return on time. So I've got an hour. What can I
get done in an hour?
That is going to be like my best return on investment here. So if I need to sit down for 2 hours and really focus on a task, then that is not the time to do it.
I love that, return on time.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before, but I'm going to start using that because
it is good, isn't it? It's,
my analogy.
Yeah, ROT.
Add that to the ROI and ROT. But you're right. And I think, you know, there's that expression, if you need something done, give it to a busy person. And I've always noticed that I think the most kind of effective people in a work environment are working parents, because they know like they're here to do something and get it done. And then when they get home, they want to be able to actually have some quality time with family. And so it's important to prioritize.
Yeah, it is. I still struggle, and I think I will always struggle just learning to switch off, as we've talked about. Being a business owner, just switching off, even though I've had like my full day of work and I've got my priorities done, it's still so hard to switch off and not think about it. And Margo and I literally were having a podcast yesterday, and we were talking about I needed to turn off my email notifications because I had them on.
We have not done that.
Henrietta, I did it on the podcast when I pick up Hit from kindy, and I just would have all these emails coming through, and I'd just instantly look at them and then stress out about them. Whereas even just having them switched off for the last 2 days, I just had a thought this morning, like being like, oh my gosh, I haven't had my notifications come through, and it's actually cleared my head so much not having that coming through every couple of minutes. So turn off your notifications.
That's a great hack.
That
is a great hack. And I mean, I'm a lot older than you two, and I have been working for a long time, and I still am the same. You know, you get that. What's the opposite to a dopamine hit? Like a cortisol shot when you know, the constant ding
go through the roof.
And it's like that email. And I still find that I suddenly want to reply, like, we need to get it. And actually, you have to. Even this morning, I thought to myself, okay, Bridget, no, don't react in the moment to that. Just, wait. And at some point later in the day, when you've got time, respond properly. But it's so hard when you are, you've got things bombarding you to actually have those boundaries set to really look after yourself better.
And that's where I've just with my emails is I feel like there's always emails coming through, and it's again that stress hit when you see them coming through and you feel like you have to return with a reply ASAP. But having like the whole blocking out in the morning, I've got an hour to go through my emails. Afternoon, I've got another hour. So knowing that you will get to them and you will reply to them when they need to be replied to when you've got the time, but don't worry about it right now. Yeah. It's just adding to the load in your head.
Is there what a great auntie. I'm guessing Margot's going to look after Henrietta. I love this. This is so good.
Henrietta is, she's very busy. And she
Very busy girl.
Find everything and anything that she can get into.
I also had one other point that I wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
Was trusting yourself and trusting your decisions. I've been working a lot on my self-doubt recently, and I feel that played a lot into my overthinking and not being present after work. So just like trusting your decisions that you are making and knowing that you are doing a good job and that it will be the right decision, or if it's not, you'll learn from that failure and move forward.
I love that as well, because you're right. You can only make the best decision in the moment with the information you've got at hand, right? And as you say, if it doesn't work out, then, you course correct if you need to.
Don't overthink it.
My husband always reminds me, you're the one that's putting the pressure on yourself. No one else is. It's you. Like, you don't have to.
I know.
Like, that is true.
Yeah, we're our hardest taskmasters
Critics
and critics.
taskmasters.
Yeah, we are. So I hope this isn't a triggering question, but if you could reclaim a missed moment because of running your business, have you got a moment in mind that you might reclaim?
Yeah, mine would be, I didn't really get much time off after Het was born, so I don't feel like I actually really enjoyed that newborn phase, because I was thinking about work constantly, and if I wasn't working, I was guilty for not working, and if I was with Het, I was guilty not being at work. And yeah, I would definitely say that's something that I want to work on going. When I do have another child, it's being able to prioritize that time with the newborn rather than not. But guilt's been so hard. And that can be for any, guilt can be related to lots of different things, not just motherhood. It could be fatherhood, it could be anything else. But when we're not doing something, we feel guilty, and when we're doing the other thing, we also feel guilty, and it's finding.
I know. What is wrong with us?
It's so hard. And it's just like learning to be present in the moment that you are, and not guilt.
We were interviewing someone on our podcast about this situation, feeling guilty about being a mum and being away, and she said, don't feel guilty, feel grateful that someone is looking after your kids for you. They're enjoying it. You're grateful for them, and then when you go home, you can feel present and not guilty.
And that you're also doing something for yourself. Like when I'm at work, like that gives me so much joy, as well as being a mum. And there's times for both of them. And one day Het will look at me and see the business that Margo and I have built, and see us as role models around that. And hopefully, she might join in on us one day.
Well, absolutely. You're building an empire. She might grow up to run. And it is that challenge.
She's already running at 13 months old. So
she's
great.
The boss. But it's that challenge I think all business owners feel. And also just, people in general about, be where your feet are and focus on the moment, because it's so easy to be hard on ourselves, and particularly when you're running a business and you've got other commitments. Margo, what about you? What's a moment that you would reclaim?
And it's interesting as we're talking about this and I'm thinking about it, it's like it's not the big things, it's more like the little things that really ground me as a person, that I know are so valuable, but I often just bypass them because I think they're not important. But yeah, as I said earlier, like little things in the morning rather than rushing to work, having a coffee with Will, or in the weekend, like actually having a weekend together. And that downtime, like with my chronic fatigue, that downtime is so important for me, but quite often I just don't think I need it, or I'm like, come on, hurry up, you've got this to do, or like I'm always wanting to do things at a faster pace than what they can actually be done at. So, it's always like that downtime is not important, but it is so important, and it makes me, and I know you as well, a better business leader when you come to the week after having that downtime and just that switch off. So I would say like that is it for me. Just those little moments that we quite often underestimate.
Yeah, I mean, well, Rosie is an elite athlete. You'll appreciate that. I think we know a lot now about the synergies between high performance sport and high performance business, and rest is so critical to operate at your best, right? And I think athletes talk about it, business leaders talk about it. You guys have mentioned it. It is really important to recharge and actually take that pressure off yourselves from time to time, because it's not sustainable, is it, to kind of be running a million miles an hour and doing everything all at once.
I really love the saying around, we always put our phones on charge at the end of the day because they are low in battery because they've been working constantly, and we never think that we need to put ourselves on charge at the end of the day after a full day at work or being a mum or whatever your day involves, because we just feel like we just need to keep going and get on with it. So see yourself as a phone. That it constantly needs to be recharged, because
100%.
we forget about it. And
we do.
I'm so bad at that.
Totally agree.
And I'm an active rester, and I need to learn to not be an active rester sometimes.
I think from being that person who was working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, to now working smarter, not harder, you realize how much more productive and how much of a better business person you are, in general.
Well, that's right.
And both personal
productivity improves, right, when you're working smarter, not harder, using digital tools to help save you time, focusing on the things that really matter, outsourcing the stuff that can be done, by a machine, and that you don't need to put your energy into. We are going to be giving away, prizes to businesses to help them reclaim moments that they have lost as part of this emotional tax return campaign. And so it's nice to think about, what is it at the end of the day that helps you to recharge, whether it's, just a quality time with your partner, a nice dinner out, a bubble bath, Epsom salts, something like that, just simple things to
year's
rejuvenate.
worth of coffee beans, I reckon would be good for me.
I think that would charge you up, definitely.
It might not charge you down.
Supercharge.
Well, we love that word at Xero. So what is some advice you would give other small businesses? So Henrietta has got great advice. I can hear her. She has got something to say. But what advice would you give other founders wanting to start out in business, or someone who's, trying to grow or scale their business, feeling a bit, burnt out? What is some advice you would give?
You just touched on it before, is outsourcing help. I feel like as business owners, we take on a lot of things, and until you actually outsource things that you can let go of and that aren't your expertise, or something you don't have time for, is such a game changer. Like outsourcing, having help with the accountancy work and having help with our data analysis around the app and the development around the app as well. Like that's just taken a huge weight off both Margo and my shoulders. And that's where it comes to hiring people as well. When you actually do it, you think, why didn't I do that, 6 months ago? Like the amount of stress it's released is amazing. So I would, ask for help, outsource jobs that you don't need to be doing.
Yeah, great call.
And keep doing what you love rather than, doing a whole heap of things that you actually don't enjoy. And I got to that point, and I know Margo did as well in the business, where we were actually doing a whole lot of things that we didn't want to be doing. And it was until we got a spreadsheet out, wrote down what we were doing right now and highlighting the parts of the job we wanted to keep doing. And then that made us decide on, right, what type of person do we need to get to help us with these jobs we don't want to be doing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So
what's your advice, Marg?
What do you have to say, Yeti?
What's your advice for a small business?
What do you want to say here?
Yeah. Nothing.
No, she's more interested in the microphone.
Have fun.
That is great.
Have fun.
If you're not having fun,
I think just don't be afraid to fail. I always say, we've failed so many times, but some of our biggest successes have come from the failures.
That's awesome. I guess you just know there's so much to learn. You're not going to get everything right every time.
No, you're not. You never are.
No, got to try. And like you said, things that haven't worked out have led you to on a different path, and then that's led somewhere. So everything sort of works out as it's meant to if you if you put your faith in that.
And also getting advisors or mentors. Like we stopped that for a long time and we've just picked it up again. Yeah, and I have learned so much from just like our chats every couple of months.
They help
so much.
And that's actually a good point. The help that you outsource doesn't have to be someone you pay. It can be a mentor. And it's some people might be thinking, well, how do I reach out to someone that I aspire to? Just literally send them an email, or I found that's been really helpful for us. Send them an email, send them a message on Instagram, and you'll be amazed at how willing and open people are to help other business people. That's something we've been quite amazed with, the help that people give us, and we think, gosh, why are they helping us so much? But it's people are so thoughtful and willing to give their advice that they've learned along the way.
Paying it forward. I love that, and so important to help businesses grow, because obviously that's what we need for our economy to grow. So what's next? What's your key focus for the 2026?
Well, we're just kind of planning a little bit of a restructure at the moment. So hiring a couple of new people this year.
Fantastic.
Which I'm telling myself not to doubt my decisions.
Don't overthink it.
Which, that takes a lot of brain power. So just kind of we're at that stage where we're doing a lot of we're wearing a lot of hats, and to really grow we need specialised people to pull that forward in their own specialties. So that's kind of us this year, is bringing on more of a team and hopefully expanding that growth into the States and Australia faster.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is really exciting. I need to remember.
You need to remember to be excited and to have fun.
Yeah, and something I love is, like, rather than getting stressed out about what's going on, telling yourself, like, it's actually a real privilege to be in this position, to be growing my business in a way that I never thought I could. Like, what a privilege to do that, rather than, oh my God, where do I start? What am I doing? Yeah. I'm failing. Just switching that mindset for myself has been really, really helpful.
Amazing. Well, Rosa and Margo, it has been such a pleasure having you on Open for Small Business today. You've got such an incredible story, such an incredible bond, obviously, as sisters working together, forging ahead in the world, a real inspiration to me, and I'm sure to everyone listening to this podcast. So thank you for your time. I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to check in again with you later in the year to see how Two Raw Sisters is going and growing.
Thanks, Bridget. And sorry for all the baby noises. But hey,
I love it.
Makes it more
that's real life.
And realistic.
That's real life,
That's real life.
100%.
And I was so nervous about taking Het to a meeting because I thought people would judge me and think, oh my gosh, she's so unprofessional. And one thing that's really amazed me is people's openness and just understanding around having kids, and that knowing I'm also not alone. Like a lot of people do it. So
absolutely. And thank goodness people are like that now, and you don't have to pretend that you haven't got a child, at home, or that you're trying to put on this brave face when you're actually dealing with a whole lot of stuff. It's
almost like a relief when you see someone else with a child in a meeting. You're like, okay, I'm not the only one. Yeah, who's trying to juggle it.
I love it. Well, you guys are incredible.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best, and look forward to hearing more as the year progresses. Thanks again for your time.
So lovely to chat.
Yeah, thank you.